Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today my group, me, Izhar, Shahir and Afilmi will be presenting about the environmental effect of pH balance. So the first thing is how the pH solution can influence the solubility of heavy metal. So generally, heavy metal are in acidic solution which is in low pH. When it is in high pH, which is mean alkaline, the OH minus will bind to the heavy metal, will bind to the heavy metal cation, forming a solid compound, which is then precipitated out. And if you varying the pH of wastewater, reservoir of water entering the water treatment plants is the main way of removing heavy metal from large volume of water that are then used by the human consumption and irrigation. Thus, this is to acknowledge that to balance the pH water is to keep our environmental healthy for our future.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. So today I want to continue the second environmental effect of the pH balance, which is the change of the soil pH. Okay, there are some ways that the pH of the soil can be changed. One of that is fertilizer. Fertilizer can change soil pH, which is they can increase or reduce the amount of nutrient available to the plants. So fertilizers such as crushed sulfur and some ammonium-based nitrogen fertilizers can lower the pH and make soil more acid. They are therefore useful for soils with problems that caused by high pH. So the other reason is the lime and the dolomite. When soils are too acidic for a particular crop, lime or dolomite can be used to increase the pH to the desired level. The amount of lime and dolomite are required to correct an acidic pH, will vary from soil to soil. So soil pH can affect the amount of nutrient and chemicals that are soluble in soil water. Therefore, the amount of nutrient available to plants. Okay, so some nutrients are more available under acid condition, and the others are more available under alkaline condition. However, most mineral nutrients are readily available to plants when soil pH is near neutral. So development of strongly acidic in the soil can result in poor plant growth, such as aluminum toxicity, manganese toxicity, calcium deficiency, magnesium deficiency, and the others can affect the soil pH. So alkaline soil may have problem with deficiency of nutrients such as zinc, copper, boron, and manganese. Soil with extremely alkaline pH are likely to have high level of sodium. The correct balance is where the soil pH is between 5 and 7.5. So every effort should be taken to check the soil pH levels regularly, so that the plants can live in the soil with the correct and natural pH. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, I'm Izhar and I'm next in line in our presentation. So we have heard about pH solution effects on heavy metals from Afiq Shazwan, and we have heard about acidity effects on agriculture from Shahir. So when thinking about pH, most people think about pH, they imagine testing pool of water or cleaning products, because that's a typical way of thinking about pH, right? But however, changing the pH level in ecosystems impact all living things. In fact, pH-related issues are serious environmental concerns nowadays. So, thinking about pH, so pH affects mostly on abiotic or biotic factors. So, when it comes to biotic factors, let's talk about fish. pH affects fish in acidic waters. So, like acidic waters, robs fish and other aquatic species of sodium in the blood and oxygen in the tissues. So, additionally, it affects the functioning of fish gills. So, when it affects the functioning of fish gills, so fishes use their gills to breathe, right? So when they affect their fish gills, they don't have the ability to breathe, and some species tolerate acidic water better than others. So there are adaptations on fishes. So brook trout, for example, a fish, tolerate water with a pH as low as 5, while a smallmouth bass feel the effects of pH of 6. So even if the acidity does not kill fish, the additional stress can stunt growth and make them less able to compete for food. Acidic water also poisons fish eggs, as they will not hatch if water pH is too low. The US Environmental Protection Agency has found that most eggs will not hatch in water with a pH level of 5 or less. So, moving on. When it comes to acidic water, they just not affect the fish. They also affect the microorganisms that lives in the water. So, in addition to the direct effects on fish, acid water also destroys ecosystems by killing organisms lower in the food chain. For example, the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection found that mayflies are particularly vulnerable to acidic water. Consequently, species feeding on mayflies will leave an infected area or starve. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Afiq Hilmi bin Suhaimi, and I'm the last representative for this group. Okay. Today I want to talk about effect of changes in pH on freshwater ecosystem. As we know, unpolluted deposition or rain in balance with atmospheric carbon dioxide has a pH of 5.6 almost everywhere in the world. The pH of rain is lower than this. The main pollutant responsible for acid deposition or acid rain are sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide. Acid deposition influences mainly the pH of freshwater. Okay. The acidification of freshwater in area is dependent on quantity of calcium carbonate limestone in the soil, which is limestone, calcium carbonate, which is limestone. Okay, limestone can buffer, which is neutralize the acidification of freshwater. The effects of the acid deposition are much greater on lakes with little buffering capacity. Much of the damage to aquatic life in sensitive areas with this little buffering capacity is a result of acid shock. This is caused by the sudden runoff of large amounts of highly acidic water and aluminium ions into lakes and streams when snow melts or in the spring or after unusually heavy rain. Okay, what is the effects on aquatic life on freshwater ecosystem? Okay, the effects on aquatic life is most freshwater lakes as the pH approaches 5, non-desirable species of plankton and mosses may begin to invade and population of fish such as smallmouth bass disappear. Okay, below a pH of 5, fish population begin to disappear. The bottom is covered. The bottom of the river or stream will be covered with undecayed material and mosses may dominate the near shore area. Below a pH of 4.5, the water is essentially devoid of fish. Aluminium ion Al3+ attached to minerals in the basalt can be released into lakes where they can kill many kinds of fish by stimulating excessive mucus formation. This asphyxiates the fish by clogging their gills, and it can also cause chronic stress that may not kill individual fish but leads to lower body weight and smaller size and make the fish less able to compete for food and habitat. The most serious chronic effect of increased acidity in surface water appears to be interference with the fish reproductive cycle. Calcium cycle in the female fish may be lower to the point where she cannot produce egg, or the eggs fail to pass from the ovary or if fertilized, the eggs and or larvae develop abnormally. So extreme pH can kill adult fish, and invertebrate life directly can also damage developing juvenile fish. It will strip a fish of its slime coat, and high pH level chaps the skin of fish because of its alkalinity. When the pH of freshwater become highly alkaline, example like 9.6, the effect on fish may include death. Damage to outer surface like gills, eye and skin are inability to dispose of metabolic waste. High pH may also increase the toxicity of other substances. For example, the toxicity of ammonia is 10 times more severe at pH of 8 than it is at pH 7. It is directly toxic to aquatic life when it appears in alkaline conditions. Low concentration of ammonia are generally permitted for discharge. Okay, that's all from me. I hope that you guys can understand clearly that the effect of fish on our environment. Thank you.